I'd like to talk today about community, but maybe I should call it human ecology, or maybe just living together. You know, it's really ecology. There are three main types of species interactions: predation and parasitism, in which one party wins and one party loses. There's competition. In competition, two or more parties compete for the same resources, like these lionesses competing with these hyenas for the kill that they made. And then there's symbiosis, in which two species live together in a mutually beneficial relationship, like this plover and this crocodile. The plover picks food out of the teeth of the crocodile, and the crocodile gladly lets her. They both get something out of it. And the winner is symbiosis, because that's the most efficient use of resources. The species don't have to spend energy and time defending themselves and fighting for things. Competition and predation, in fact, tend to be reduced over time through natural selection. Those things put pressure on species and tend to force them into other ecological niches, other ways of living and other adaptations. Even within species, competition leads to behaviors that reduce it, like territoriality. These red-winged blackbirds that populate the swamp, they kind of space themselves out and they form little mating territories. This is to reduce conflict. And likewise, for humans, there are three main types of interactions that we could point out. There's win-lose relationships. These might involve force and aggression, aggressing against the person or property of another person. Or they might involve otherwise harming another willfully or through negligence, like in a bullying type of situation. Of course, win-lose relationships can also involve competition. One party beats the other in competition for the same resources. Amazon.com plows borders into the ground through their ability to offer cheaper merchandise. And this is fair when everyone plays by the same rules. Then there are lose-lose relationships, when there's no deal. We're both disappointed. Maybe we've gotten in a fight, or maybe we've just decided to go our own way. And sometimes walking away is the best option, but usually there's a better way. A win-win situation, or a win-win relationship. Mutually beneficial exchange. Both parties get something they want. You want lunch more than the cash? He wants cash more than the hot dog. She wants your labor more than her money. Mutually beneficial exchange. And it might not be purely economic. You may want kindness, a listening ear, someone to care for or have fun with. And so does she. You want friendship and help. And so do they. Mutually beneficial exchange. Win-win situation. Another way to look at this is that there are two ways to get what you want. The great German sociologist Franz Oppenheimer pointed out that there are two mutually exclusive ways of acquiring wealth, and we might say, of anything that you want. One, the above way of production and exchange, which he called the economic means. The other way is simpler, in that it does not require productivity. It is the way of seizure of another's goods or services by the use of force and violence. This is the method of one-sided confiscation, of theft of the property of others. This is the method which Oppenheimer termed the political means to wealth. And this goes way back. We might imagine our ancestors learning these lessons. Grok and his community learned that aggression against the person or property of your neighbors leads to aggression against yourself by your neighbors. This does not promote a healthy and successful society. On the other hand, they learned that if they respected each other's rights, engaging in voluntary exchange for mutual benefit, they could live peacefully, prosperously, and happily in a successful society. These were simple facts of nature, a natural law. The political means are win-lose. The economic means are win-win. The same goes for us. Go around slapping people in the face, so to speak, and don't be surprised when you get slapped. On the other hand, if we obey the rules, others will be encouraged to do the same, and they usually will, and will live in peace instead of a stressful chaos. We'll promote that kind of society. These rules are simple. The golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, and the non-aggression principle. In a civilized society, force may be used only in retaliation and only against those who initiate its use. These principles are basically natural laws. When we follow the golden rule or the non-aggression principle, we are acting according to our nature as humans, and so it is no wonder that's what works best for making us happy. When we live according to our nature, we'll be like a dog chasing game, a bird in flight, or a horse running like the wind across the plain, happy and fulfilled. And what's true of individuals is true of societies. Just look at the increase in prosperity since the Scottish Enlightenment in the late 1700s and the consequent increase in the Lockean philosophy of rights. In fact, a right is just any logical consequence of these simple natural rules. That's why they were called rights, natural rights. The essence of the political means is physically forcing others to do what you want or don't want them to do. It might be called the coercive means. It can be political. The Code of Federal Regulations was 157,974 pages of laws and regulations in 2009. That's a lot of do's and don'ts. And what about democracy? What is democracy anyway? Thomas Jefferson said that a democracy is nothing more than mob rule, where 51% of the people may take away the rights of the other 49%, forcing them to do their will. Forcing other groups of people, other people groups, to do our will through aggression and force. That's the political means. The political or coercive means can be what some might call capitalistic, although that use of that term is debatable here. Monsanto prevents others from using their ideas, the genes that they create, through patent law, forcing their way. Or maybe you're a big bank that lost lots of money through risky investments, and you're forcing others, forcing taxpayers to pay for your mistakes. The coercive political means can also be personal. Trying to control others through violence or threats of violence, whether you do it yourself or use someone else to carry out the threat. Though technically not the same as coercion, which really must involve physical force, trying to control others through manipulation follows the basic principle of the political means. It's about trying to control others, and this violates natural law. It violates the golden rule, unless you want to be controlled. And if you want to be controlled, please see my last presentation on responsibility. The essence of the economic means is voluntary human relationships, social cooperation, mutually beneficial exchange, following the golden rule and the non-aggression principle. It can be applied in all spheres of life. Let's look at some examples. In personal relations, what does the voluntary means look like in personal relations? It looks like kindness, courtesy, and respect. Persuasion instead of coercion or manipulation, and mutually beneficial relationships. Alfred North Whitehead said, "The creation of the world," said Plato, "is the victory of persuasion over force. Civilization is the maintenance of social order by its own inherent persuasiveness, as embodying the nobler alternative. The recourse to force, however unavoidable, is a disclosure of the failure of civilization, either in the general society or in a remnant of individuals. Now, the intercourse between individuals and between social groups takes one of these two forms, force or persuasion. Commerce is the great example of intercourse by way of persuasion. War, slavery, and governmental compulsion exemplify the reign of force." The voluntary means respect for others' rights, also known as following the golden rule and the NAP. An example? claiming a spot at the beach. It's natural that no one takes your spot after you have homesteaded it, and to compete for the best spot by getting there early is natural. Waiting your turn in line, it's natural. Or obeying the rules at a four-way stop. Don't believe me? Try violating the rule and see what happens. Voluntary exchange. We exchange our labor for what we need and want, and the market delivers. Where would we be without the market? No light bulbs, computers, iPods, phones, cars, etc. We work, we get cash, we exchange it for what we want. That's the beauty of voluntary exchange. In competition, all competitors are under the same rules and no one is being forced. And this follows natural law. In fact, force must be used to eliminate competition, but competition itself involves no force. What about large interactions among populations of people? The same rules must apply, since they are just collections of individuals. Amazing things can be done by totally voluntary organization without any force or coercion at all. Look at examples like Greenpeace and the things that they've done environmentally. Dolphin-free tuna, for example. Rotary International and their work against polio. Or Kiva and their interest-free loans that anyone can offer to third world entrepreneurs. All voluntary organizations. And the internet is a great example of a free exchange of ideas, services, and goods. And it's amazing. Here's a map of it. Voluntary interactions self-organize. Order emerges out of chaos. The political, coercive means breed chaos. The economic, voluntary means lead to spontaneous, unplanned order and harmony. So what will it be? You can choose the political, coercive means or the economic, voluntary means. Control and be controlled under the political means, or live and let live under the economic means. We can violate the GR and the NAP or follow the GR and the NAP. We can have anti-civilization and chaos or emergent order. We can have predation and parasitism or symbiosis. We can have win-lose situations or win-win relationships. We can look for prey or flee from predators or look for mutually beneficial exchange. We can have stress, strife, and stifling of our potentials or maximum happiness. It might seem scary that we can't control others. What if they reject us? What if we have nothing to offer in exchange? The cool thing is, we do. We are all unique in the world and in history, even genetically, with unique things to offer. We are all unique individuals with tremendous unique potential that only we can really control. More importantly, we can all offer what we all need most: kindness, respect, care, a listening ear. And even if they still reject us, we will still experience the fulfillment that comes from living according to our nature, and we are also instilled with self-sufficiency. Only you can decide whether to live like a tick, sucking the life out of others and yourself, or to live symbiotically with others in mutually beneficial relationships, social cooperation. Start close to home, in family relationships, at school, with your peers, in class, in the hallways, and online. See other people not as prey, but as potential candidates for symbiosis. And if you just can't get along, then opt for walking away rather than predation. And make yourself more attractive to others by being kinder, more helpful, and more useful. Imagine a voluntary world, a world where everyone followed the GR and lived symbiotically in mutually beneficial relationships, in win-win relationships, voluntarily. A dream? Maybe. But it's our nature. Begin today.